All right, it's 7:06, and as everyone who's familiar with Leaf knows, I like to run an efficient meeting. Bruce Henches, if you want to unmute your mic, you sure can too. Just for the ease of background noise and efficiency, because we've got about 70 people here on the meeting. We'll keep all mics muted, and I'll be watching the participants to make sure we can admit anybody. So Bruce, can you hear us all too?
I hear you, and I would just like to say welcome to everybody. Great to see this kind of a turnout for our annual meeting, and looking forward to sharing what's been going on with LEAF for the last year.
All right. So, all right. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Reisinger. I'm the president of LEAF. This is my fourth and final meeting of presiding over everyone. I see lots of familiar faces and names. And like I said earlier, typically we, at this moment in our annual meeting and report to the community, we have eaten, have conversed at the country club, had cocktails, caught up on the latest scores, theater productions, choir concerts, remember all of that. But not this year. So as we hopefully navigate these last few months of this cruel pandemic, here we are behind our screens like so many of us all day long and the last 11 months. Thank you for making time in your evenings. I know, like I said, we're all sitting in front of screens already, so it's hard to do another meeting, but we'll make this as efficient as possible, and we're really happy that you're all here to share in our year. But the pandemic may have robbed us of our normalcy. It didn't rob us of our agility, of our innovation, and our flexibility. And as you'll see, I'm so proud of the work that we did this year at LEAF. And as you'll learn more, I hope you will be too. So many of you were integral to that success. So thank you again. Few housekeeping items. As you know, we're obviously all muted. As you can see in the left-hand corner of your screen, we are recording this meeting. If at any time you feel you want to turn off your camera, please feel free. That is absolutely just fine. We'll keep mics muted. Presenters and honorees, I'll ask you to manually unmute your mic. I can also help with that, but I'll be the one behind the screen running the show, and I'll do my best with logistics. And the chat box is open. So at the end of Bruce's presentation in particular, please feel free during the presentation to put questions in the chat box, and we will be monitoring those and we will address those at the end. Pat Kruger and Lori Johnson are here to help me. So you can address a question to them, you could address it to everyone, you could address it to me, and we'll get it answered. While we've rehearsed this evening's events, please forgive us if we have any technical difficulties, and we'll keep everything running smoothly as best as we can. Finally, your email included a PDF of tonight's program. If you've misplaced it, I put it in the chat box in the resources section, so you can pull that up. It's just a PDF, the order of events, and some of the honorees and the people we'd like to thank. So you can pull that up. And if you misplace it and you don't want to do that, we can also email you one at the end of the night. Okay, so here we go. As most of you know, LEAF started in the early 1990s, originally to provide financial support for the activities in District 742. Now it provides fundamental supplemental financial support for academic opportunities and enhancements as well. In fact, we support all academics, athletics, arts, and activities programming in 742, and have even expanded our mission to include student support services. This annual event is an opportunity to celebrate our accomplishments and to say thanks to those who contributed to our success. The LEAF board recognizes we would be unable to fulfill our mission of supporting District 742 without the contributions of so many of you, both time and treasure, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. This is why we began our annual meeting in 2004, actually at the home of Paulette and Steve Schwegeman. And in fun fact, in 2004, just a mere, 17 years ago, the LEAF endowment stood at $315,000. We gave over $22,000 in grants to 742 during that school year. Today, the LEAF endowment stands at nearly $2 million. We gave over $190,000 to the district this year. And LEAF is the conduit for providing the private support to providing for the District 742. So we'll get to a quick review of our year and the introduction of our honorees in just a second. There are a couple people I want to recognize for their contributions to LEAF. Our board of directors, many of whom I see their smiling faces in the gallery right now. I get to see them 6 times a year, if not more. We have an excellent board. We have lots of new people coming on that we're very excited about, and I am so proud to have the opportunity to work with them. We can't do it and without them. In your annual report, which many of you were mailed, and if you didn't get one, please shoot us an email afterward and we'll send you one. You'll also note that we lost a few people, like many of you this year, including George Torrey, Gary Strandemo, and John Wirtz. And we are forever grateful of the support and working with them throughout the years. I also want to introduce our new administrative assistant, Lori Johnson. She can wave for the support of all her efforts, many of which go unnoticed but are so important. And we also thank Janet McGonkey, who held that role up until January of this year. Huge thank you to Bruce Henches, the LEAF Executive Director, who is, as many of you know, technically half-time, but he works over full-time all year, every year, and we owe so much of LEAF's success to his work. There's lots of you who serve on LEAF committees, who give financially to LEAF, and we really say thank you. We could not have accomplished what we did without you. So, without further ado, as you know, throw questions in the chat. Feel free to give me a holler or anyone else. And at the very end, Bruce Mose will remind you as well, there's a few people we want to make sure we can get into a screenshot. So we will make sure that you stick around afterward. So with that, I'll turn it over to Bruce. I'll share my screen and we'll get started.
You just finally unmuted me, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
so
I did.
Thank you for doing that.
Everyone see what I see, the front of the PowerPoint? You got that? All right.
Thanks for that introduction, Elizabeth, and I want to welcome everybody. It is really difficult to sit here and be muted as so many familiar faces show up on our screen, and not just current board members and past board members, but many community members that have been so generous to LEAF. And even a former student that I'm going to be introducing a little bit later on this evening, and to be unable to speak to you prior to this event is certainly a difficult thing, but I guess it's something that we all have to live with. My job this evening is to take us through the PowerPoint that briefly tells the community who LEAF is and what we've been doing over the past year, and then to begin our awards part of the presentation. Those of you who attended the school board meeting via Zoom last week saw this presentation made by Elizabeth and Peggy Carlson. And they did such a fabulous job with it, even though I kind of gathered the content. They presented it so well that I've asked them to keep their mics open and to add anything that they would choose to as we go through this. And again, you can submit any questions you want in the chat box, and we'll be glad to answer them at the end. Elizabeth, can you go back to that
I
first?
I can, yeah, sorry.
You're really trying to push me along here. I can
tell that.
You know,
Per usual.
I know. If there's one message that we would want to deliver through this annual meeting today, it's a thank you. And the first big thanks would be a thanks to all district staff, including Board of Education members, but from the superintendent on down, and I believe I saw that the superintendent was signed in with us this evening, for the tremendous effort that they have all made to continue a quality educational program during this unprecedented pandemic. We applaud Superintendent Jett's comments in yesterday's St. Cloud Times. If you haven't read them, the thank you to everybody and the look forward to hopefully getting back to a somewhat normal educational program. We would also want to thank all of our donors for their support of District educational programs in many ways, especially through their generous gifts in support of education through LEAF. The large picture that you see here on the slide presentation was from last summer in front of the United Way building, when the United Way presented LEAF with 1,500 books for our PAC-RAT program, our parent and child literacy program that we have been supporting since 2011. It was a big enough deal that, as you can see, even Senator Sanders showed up, although he was a little dressed inappropriately in the middle of the summer, but that's, I guess, the way that he likes to dress. Okay. Elizabeth, you can forward it.
Okay.
We try to stay true to our mission, whatever we do. And that is that we are a foundation whose purpose is to secure and channel private funds to support and enhance excellence and opportunity. And those are the two key words that we look at in deciding when we will add any funds or initiatives for supporting in District 742. We support academics, activities, arts, athletics, and student support services in District 742 schools, as long as they move us towards excellence or provide opportunity for kids who otherwise might not have that opportunity. Okay. Some of our highlights this year would start with the fact that we're very proud that we have now exceeded $2 million in total grants since 1996. And in fact, this year gave over $191,000 in grants during the 2020 year. And in 2020, we suspended our normal grant cycles in order to be responsive to the pandemic and the district needs. And included in our efforts were support for Chromebooks and hotspots and other things that would help provide distance learning for all students in District 742. We were able to attract a number of COVID-19 community response grants from right here at the Central Minnesota Community Foundation, where our office is located, but also from United Way and St. Cloud City Block Grant, which enabled us to support the homeless youth in District 742 at our highest level.
Oh, sorry.
And
Go ahead.
was at over $46,000. Adjustments had to be made in the summer PAC-RAT and PAC-CAT programs because of the pandemic, but again, because of generous gifts, for example, from Stearns Bank, and again, another COVID grant from the Community Foundation, we were able to provide a unique program that we'll mention here in just a little bit. The Morgan Family Foundation continues to support education in District 742 and LEAF, and we were very fortunate to capture a $41,000 grant just at the end of the year in December from the Morgan Family Foundation that will help us not just extend and continue to grow the PAC-CAT program for our preschool students in District 742, but also to expand and include several childcare facilities so that students coming into District 742 have their best opportunity to have the math skills needed to be successful students in the school system. And then, of course, the thing that is will have an impact on LEAF for many years to come in the future was the extremely generous $400,000 gift from the estate of George and Shirley Torrey for the LEAF Activities Endowment. Elizabeth, you can.
Yeah.
Most of you know who George and Shirley Torrey were. They were longtime community philanthropists, supported many programs in this community, but truly friends of LEAF and friends of education. In 2002, the school board eliminated the middle school activities program because of budget cuts. LEAF took the bold step of saying, how about if we provide the funds for that program for 1 year to keep it going so that it doesn't die? And so we started our Night of the Stars program and conducted a number of other fundraisers throughout the winter of 2001, 2002. But we got to April, and the St. Cloud Times ran a story about our efforts and wanted to know how we were doing. And I said, well, we're making progress, but we're still not there. George read that article in the paper and called me that morning and said, how far are we from making our goal, Bruce? And I said, well, swallowed kind of hard, $65,000 short. George said, I'll be over this afternoon. And he came over, wrote out a check. We made our goal, and achieving that goal not only saved middle school activities for students in District 742, but truly established LEAF as a credible foundation in this community, and I think had a very positive long-term impact on our growth. Then in 2008, the Tories decided to set up a legacy fund, which provides grants to District 742 to, again, the Student Activities Program, which is a real love of George and Shirley. In 2012, George and Shirley wrote out a letter of intent for a future estate gift that when they passed on, they wanted to leave a sizable gift to LEAF. Shirley died a couple of years ago. George passed away this summer, and this December, LEAF received the $400,000 estate gift from George and Shirley. The next slide is a video clip that I took out of a presentation that George gave to our students in 2012 at our Welcome Back luncheon. And listen to the things that he says about why he supports LEAF and why he even calls on students to be missionaries for the LEAF program.
Started 1993. All I had to do was hear the mission of LEAF, and I became instantly a supporter of it because I believe so strongly in, number one, education of youth, number two, the importance of extracurricular activities to the educational part of your experience. The opportunity that you students have to participate in the excellent school system of St. Cloud and the athletics of the St. Cloud area, I hope that you appreciate the opportunity you have. And I hope that you appreciate the many, many countless hours that your coaches give to teaching you in athletics and in other school activities. They do this, some to be compensated, but more than that, much more than that, is countless hours of volunteer time. And then there are those that aren't even in the teaching that don't get any compensation that help to volunteer. Wayne and Brad are two that I recognize, help with the football program, take time out of their busy schedule. I hope that you appreciate that. And I'd like you to, all of you, to thank your coaches and teachers for what they do for you. I also would like you students, when you go home tonight, tell your parents about LEAF today, what LEAF is, the luncheon you attended, what they do. Encourage them to support LEAF. Encourage your grandmas and grandpas to support LEAF financially, because it's only with dollars and dedicated volunteers that we can continue the programs that LEAF offer. I think we're probably approaching $1 million in the endowment funds for LEAF, but the size school district St. Cloud is, we need at least $5 million and probably more than that. And I think down the road, eventually, we'll get there. But to do the significant support of programs, educational and athletic programs, we should have at least in that area. It's only 5% of those dollars that are given annually. You'll notice in your program, the programs that have been supported this past year, it's getting more significant each year. The mission of LEAF is important to get out to the public. Since 1993, We worked very hard at that, but we have a big job yet to do. And each one of you can be a missionary out there to tell about LEAF, encourage people to support LEAF. So thank you very much. I appreciate very much helping LEAF, and I hope all of you do too. Thank you for coming.
I think you can hear in George's words why it is that he and Shirley were so supportive of education in District 742 and in LEAF's efforts to support that. George and Shirley's daughters, Katie and Ann, are with us this evening. At least I know that I saw Katie was checked in. I'm not sure if Ann is here. Katie, I'm proud to say, is a former student from a few years ago at Tech High School. She would smile about that. I think on another year, in another setting, this would have called for a standing ovation to express our thanks to them for the generosity of their parents. Tonight, I hope that it suffices, Katie and Ann, to know that your parents had a major impact on education in District 742 and on the growth of the Local Education and Activities Foundation. And we thank you and honor them this evening. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, you can.
I have been.
It's very, it really wants to show George again. Sorry about that. Doesn't want to move over. There we go.
Okay, so that takes us to where we are organizationally. We have an activities fund started in 1993 with a $100,000 loan from the district to get us going. That was all paid back. And that has grown now to $1,327,000. We give 5% of our endowed funds each year in grants. So this coming year, that means we will be able to give $66,000 in grants to district activities programs. The academic fund was started in 2009 with a $100 check from a supporter, and it now stands at $647,000 and will allow us to give over $32,000 in grants for academic programming in the coming year. What I am so proud about LEAF, though, is that only about 1/3 of our grants come from our endowment. The others come from other initiatives and programs that LEAF has supported and fundraising efforts that we have over the course of the years. Elizabeth, go ahead. This graph kind of shows that for 2020, where our grants went to and where they came from. The grants above the line are ones from our endowed funds. And you will notice there that the one in italicized or in bold print, the COVID-19 related grants of over $24,000 are from mostly this fall, where we decided to suspend our normal grant process and do what we could to support the district in their efforts to support children in distance learning. Then the ones below the line are the other initiatives that LEAF supports. A couple of the really significant ones include our Adopt a Classroom program, where every year an individual or group can adopt a classroom for $250. And you can see this past year, we raised over $32,000 for that program and adopted then 130 classrooms for classroom supplies that they could purchase. You see our Pack Rat and Pack Cat funds there, and the Homeless Student Services Fund of $46,000. Homeless Student Services really comes under the part of our mission that says opportunities for kids. Certainly, if you're sleeping in the basement of the church of the week and then getting up and go to school, it's hard to expect that you can compete academically with other kids. And so we'll explain a little bit more about the opportunities that we're able to provide through that. Elizabeth, go ahead and advance it. The next graph really shows, unless anybody or either of you have something to say.
I just want to, I'll make one quick comment, Bruce.
Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, Peggy, can you introduce yourself though, too?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Peggy Carlson, and I am the Vice President of LEAF, and I'm also LEAF's Grant Administrator. And I just want to say that the $24,000 amount was until December 31st.
Yes.
And we now have given over $30,000 in COVID-related grants. We have 6 more applications pending for approval, and we have another 7 that are submitted or will be submitted soon for approval. And most of these grants have gone to providing educators with the funds they need to help students better connect and re-engage. And that's kind of been our mission since September. And we're very proud of what we've done. And again, thank you to all the donors that have allowed us to respond and be agile to the needs of the students and educators of our district.
Thank you for bringing that up, Peggy. And it reminds me to remind board members that tomorrow morning I will be sending out those 6 most recent grants approved by the executive committee for their approval so that we can move the funds on to those district programs. Go ahead, Elizabeth. Then. So this graph shows the overall grants, the 2,411,000 in total grants that we've given. Rather than saying much here, I think we'll just keep moving so that we don't get bogged down too much. LEAF is supported by literally thousands of individual donations over the course of the year. And they range from several dollars or $5 up to, of course, a $400,000 estate gift. There are several individuals or couples or organizations that have been particularly generous to LEAF in this past year. Some of them have been for many years also, but we want to highlight some of the major gifts that we've received in this past year. Some of them are grants from foundations. Some of them are gifts from individuals. And the line underneath each of the gifts tells the focus of the donor. And we always honor the directive of the donor in terms of where the funds go in support of education in District 742. Maybe one of the unique ones on that list that might surprise some people is down near the bottom, the St. Cloud Area Golden Gloves Incorporated gave $5,000 in support of the Adopt a Classroom program this year. They obviously have connections with classrooms in the district, and we're one of probably the major donor to that effort this year. But we thank all of our donors, but certainly recognize the tremendous impact that these individuals have on our ability to support education. Okay. For donors that are interested and in a position where it's possible, you can create a legacy fund with LEAF, which allows you then to direct the 5% grant from that fund to the program of your choice within the district. In order to set up a legacy fund, a donor has to donate $25,000 given up to over 5 years. And then the grant is given in support of whatever program that donor most values. And you can see George and Shirley Torrey have been focused on student activities. Many of our other donors say, hey, student activities or academics, LEAF choose which one through our grant process. Then we have some like South Junior High Activities Fund, where the 5% grant goes back to the activities program at South or the athletic program at Tech, etc. We have a fund for the Chinese and Spanish immersion program, and a couple of memorial scholarships for students that provide scholarships for graduating students in the name of previous Tech students. Just a quick word about our Homeless Student Services Fund. It has been around since 2015 when we began it. And it's really based on the motto of homework is hard. Imagine how hard it is without a home. And anywhere from 300 to 500 of our students in District 742 are facing that challenge of getting a quality education without having a stable home situation. So we tried to provide support for that. We work through the district transitional services program. Rebecca Groenwald and Jen Locke are the two staff members who just do a phenomenal job connecting with families facing homelessness. And then they try to make arrangements through other social services agencies, but if they can't, then Leaf stands ready to support those families to the extent we can. And in 2020, you can see we provided $46,000 in grants. Crisis shelter is the most important thing. And in some cases, that was motels. $12,000 worth of motel stays for families to get them through a short while until they could get into the Salvation Army or some other placement or get back into an apartment. We also gave crisis housing assistance to keep people in their apartments, perhaps paying for a down payment or a deposit, or maybe even a month's rent so that they didn't become homeless. Then clothing, food, transportation, and gas and miscellaneous make up the rest of it. Under miscellaneous, internet service, phone service for families. We paid for COVID tests this year. We also, one of the ones that really strikes me is we paid for a family who was basically living out of their car, but couldn't afford to buy the license tabs for their car. And so we purchased the license tab or paid for the license tab for this family. And it just really tugs at your heartstrings to see the situation that some families are facing. And yet the kids are trying to get an education. And so we do what we can to support that. Elizabeth? Probably our two marquee programs have evolved as the PAC-RAT and PAC-CAP program. Again, there are child literacy and child math literacy programs. PAC-RAT focuses on kids in preschool through grade 3 with literacy, and PAC-CAT is preschool and now childcare to preschool math skills. 2020 was the first year of the PAC-CAT program, starting with a very generous Morgan Foundation grant. We got the program up, ready to go, rolled it out in January, and of course, by March, we had to end it with the pandemic. The Morgan Foundation stayed supportive of the efforts in that program and the work of Melissa Hanzik-Brill, who's the grant coordinator for that, and has given us another grant for the 21-22 school year, and we're busy at expanding that program. PAC-RAT has been around longer. Sarah Martini is our coordinator for that, does a phenomenal job. And that ran from September up until the pandemic. Then we got to summer, and normally we run a summer program through our PAC-RAT bus, the green bus that you see at the bottom of the screen there. We couldn't do that this year because of the pandemic, because we couldn't hand out books and then get them back in a week as we normally would. And so with the help of the grants, again, from the Community Foundation and Stearns Bank, and some of the other fund balances that we had, we were able to run a 1-week program where we could give every student 2 books to keep, as well as a packet of math materials focused on their grade level. It was a tremendous successful program, drew in a lot of families and kids. As you can see, 887 students in 1 week. The 600 math packets were gone by Wednesday, and people wanted more. And we gave away well over 1,000 books. The picture includes the staff, the volunteers who got on that bus every day and normally do during the summer, every week of the summer, in support of passing on these materials for kids during the time of the summer where they otherwise don't necessarily have access to quality school materials. The next slide, it just shows the success of the program. The bus was packed to the gills at the start of the week. All of those boxes were full, the cupboards were full. And this was the picture I took on Thursday afternoon, where we had virtually run out of all of the materials that we had. The demand was great, and the parents and families were very appreciative of it. Okay. One of the other highlights of this year, and one of our newer programs, is our photo contest. Unfortunately, we had to suspend it because of the pandemic, but we're hoping to begin it again in the fourth quarter. And it's open to District 742 parents, staff, or residents, anybody who captures a scene in a photo that they can define as the best of 742. You simply send us the digital picture. It can be of academics, activities, arts, or athletics. The person who takes the picture gets a $50 gift card to Shields or Target, and then that's for the winner of the quarter. And then each semester we select a winner, and the photographer gets to identify a program that receives a $500 grant from LEAF. And our rules are on our webpage. Okay, Elizabeth. Unfortunately, our 20th annual Night of the Stars, which was scheduled for this February, has had to be canceled because of the pandemic. We are still hoping to be able to put some kind of a show on near the end of the school year if things work out right. But right now, our plan is to have our 20th annual event in next February of 2022. You can look at video and pictures from previous Nights of the Stars on our LEAF webpage. Again, leaf742.org. LEAF grants. Peggy, a couple quick words about our grant process.
We do hope to be able to return to our normal 2 rounds of grants, a fall round and a spring round in the fall of 2021. We will continue our restricted process, the one that we have in place, through probably May 1st, unless someone has a great need after May 1st. But I hope to open up the fall grant round on May 1st. It usually doesn't open until July 1st, but we thought we'd like to open it early this year to give teachers a chance to do some planning before they left for the end of the year. So that's what our plans are for right now, is staying with our current round and then going back to our normal 2 rounds in the fall.
Okay. Elizabeth? So learn more at leaf742.org and follow us on Facebook. Pat Kruger updates our Facebook page often, and please follow us there. I think that's the end of the PowerPoint. And that allows us to move right on then into the other key part of our evening, and that is...
Oh, and Bruce, I just
yes.
want to make note of the honorees. Feel free, Bruce or Pat or Peggy will be giving you an introduction, and then you can unmute your mic, and I'll help you as well. But just make sure you'll have to manually unmute your mic after you get introduced.
I guess I should ask also, Pat or Lori, are there any questions in the chat room that we need to address? Okay, we can keep moving on. Okay, great. So our procedure for the awards this evening is that we will introduce our honorees with a short description of their contributions to the LEAF mission. We would normally then have them come to the front and receive their award. We can't do this year, but this is the award that they will be receiving, and they will be, one of us from our executive committee will be delivering it sometime within the next week. While no one is forced to talk, we do invite each of our awardees to say a few words in accepting their award. As Elizabeth said, she will turn on the mic for them. And then after the award ceremony, we would ask that the award winners stick around so we can try to take some kind of a picture that we might be able to use with on our Facebook, our news release, or whatever. So moving on quickly, our first award is for charitable giving. Of course, LEAF would not be able to make an impact on our local public education without the financial support of individuals, businesses, and service organizations. The Charitable Giving Award has been named after George and Shirley Torrey. since it was first awarded in 2004. As already we've mentioned, it continues to honor LEAF, or they continue to honor LEAF with their generosity. The George and Shirley Torrey Charitable Giving Award thanks individuals, businesses, or service organizations whose contributions have made a major impact on LEAF. Tonight, we are recognizing a local business and 3 couples for their ongoing support of LEAF. And first, in the business area, our first award goes to Shields of St. Cloud. Shields has been an annual donor to LEAF. They've been strong supporters of the LEAF Night of the Stars variety show. Shields has allowed LEAF to purchase gift cards at reduced prices, which we could then use to assist students who wanted to participate in the activities program, but faced significant economic challenges to purchasing the needed equipment like athletic shoes and other gear. Finally, Shields has helped in the academic program by hosting the Pack Rat Bus during the District 1 book reading campaign, which has led to many other books being donated to the Pack Rat program. Jamie M. Mortland, lead for donations and events for Shields, is with us today. For your support of LEAF and education in District 742, LEAF is proud to award the LEAF Award for Charitable Giving to St. Cloud Shields, and our sincere thanks for your support.
Thank you.
Jamie is here, I believe.
Here.
Okay. Would you like to say a few words?
Actually, on behalf of St. Cloud Shields Team and Associates, I want to say very humble for this honor. I'm extremely proud of this community partnership and look forward to continued opportunities in the future. We've had so much fun with this district, and everyone we've worked with has been absolutely amazing. So thank you for this.
Thank you very much, and thanks to Shields. Our next charitable award winner, Pat Kruger, is going to present.
Oh, Pat. Oh, yes. You say it, you want to say a word, you say yes.
Well, I've known Mike and Carol Helgeson for many years, and I've seen them continuously support many important programs that enhance our broader community. And I do mean broad community because it's really the St. Cloud area. From what I can see, once they're convinced of the impact of an initiative, they can be counted upon to really make a difference. I think most people in the community know that Helgesons are great community philanthropists who have supported the creative arts for many years. But that's not all. We are very proud that they have been supporting public education through LEAF, primarily through contributions to the Learning Renaissance initiatives, but also in general, impacting programs for academics, all academics, activities, arts, and athletics. Also, incidentally, Carol at one time created some of the most popular, really beautiful etched wine glasses ever to be in the Learning Renaissance wine poll. They were memorable, beautiful. For their ongoing charity and giving to public education through LEAF, we were honored to award the Charitable Giving Award to Mike and Carol Helgeson. I think it is easy to say that they have made this area a much better place to live and to educate children.
Well, thank you, Pat.
Unmute.
Yeah.
Yep, you're muted.
We're happy to say a few words and thank you, Pat, for that wonderful introduction. And so we're honored to receive this award, first of all. Thank you. And I'd like to say that we like and respect this foundation, and especially respect the founders who have been nurturing this along since its infancy in 1993. And also, I respect all the volunteers and teachers who I became aware of at the Cafe Renaissance, Learning Renaissance event each fall. And they're very familiar faces that showed up and did all those the parts of that. And also we respect the teachers that do extra initiatives in the classroom to enhance learning for children. And we also respect any students who have the desire to do extracurricular activities, which allow them to make the most of their school years. And I'd like to say, if all school districts were as effective as this, the world would be a better place.
Well, Carol and I are honored to receive this award, and we're proud to be 1970 graduates of St. Cloud Technical High School, actually where we met. And a footnote, that is the largest graduating class ever in St. Cloud and probably will ever be. But this is a way for us to pay it forward and help students in the future to have more opportunities. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Mike and Carol. Just would point out that I was one of the lucky winners, by the way, of 2 of your wine glasses at one of the wine polls a couple of years ago at the Cafe Renaissance, and have it displayed in our home. Don't drink wine, but the glasses look great. So thank you. Our next award, George and Shirley Torrey Charitable Giving Award, goes to Jean and Mary Margaret Bjorklund. Jean Bjorklund was a longtime professor at St. Cloud State University. Besides being longtime supporters of education through LEAF, the Bjorklunds have made it their mission to recognize former educators through gifts in honor of those educators, for those who are still living but deserve recognition for their efforts, and gifts in memory of educators who have died. I wish I could read the nice tributes that they submit with their donations for former educators, but they clearly show the value that they place on public education. They have made LEAF the beneficiary of their generosity multiple times each year, and have raised the awareness of the opportunity to remember those who have died with a legacy gift in support of education. So for their generosity and recognition of current and former educators, we are proud to award the LEAF Charitable Giving Award to Jean and Mary Margaret Bjorklund. There they are. Elizabeth, they are still muted. Do you?
What? We can.
There we go.
If you were,
I think you got it.
Yeah, they got him, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, go.
thank you, Bruce, for those very kind words. And thank you to the LEAF Board of Directors for this significant honor. When Mary Margaret and I first learned about LEAF, we recognized that it would be an important, significant contributor to the financial well-being of 742 schools. We certainly wanted to support it, and we also found a way of doing that by recognizing former District 742 educators that we had known and felt were worthy of special honors. And so we began annually to provide a gift to LEAF in honor of one or two former teachers. Then all of a sudden, one day I realized that I was in my mid-80s and we probably didn't have enough time to continue to honor all of the educators we wanted to honor. And so we increased our contribution and increased the number of people we wanted to honor. We still have a list. We are going to continue with that program. The list seems to be growing exponentially as our ages, as our memories increase, as we grow older. And so we hope that in the future, we will not miss anyone who has been very deserving. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this honor.
Thank you, Jean and Mary Margaret. If you look at your annual report, LEAF annual report, you'll see that we do list gifts that are given in honor of or in memory of, and you will see that the Bjorklands have been extremely generous in that. I hope it's okay if I say, Jean, that I once had you as a professor at St. Cloud State. I believe it was for statistics. I hope that you don't remember me particularly as a student, because that was a tough class. But anyway, thank you for your contributions. Our last Charitable Giving Award goes to Vern and Marianne Leach. Marianne is a former educator, teacher in District 742. Her and Vern's commitment to public education is demonstrated in the gifts, by their gifts to virtually every program that LEAF supports, from homeless student services to PAC-RAT and PAC-CAT to the overall academic and activities programs. Vern and Marianne have been generous and consistent supporters to LEAF's missions for many years. LEAF has a retired educators club, which recognizes donations made by former teachers in support of education even after their retirement. Marianne and Vern are among the leading donors to that effort. And for their contributions, LEAF is proud to award the LEAF Charitable Giving Award to them. Vern and Marianne, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. You've done a great job. We really, I just am so proud of LEAF and what they do for education. As a teacher, I know how tough it's been to man a classroom and to get it ready and get everything. So I really support the gift to teachers or the gift to the classrooms. I would think that's great. And we have 4 children who have graduated from Tech High School and from the district, and always have done so well. So we continue to really appreciate this.
Yes. Marianne and I have been lifelong educators in the district and at St. Cloud State. So we know what education is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we sure appreciate your support. Our next award is the Phil Welter Volunteer Service Award. Phil Welter, many of you may know, was the founder of LEAF and served as our executive director until 2008. When we began to recognize the volunteer efforts of those involved with the LEAF organization in 2004, we thought it would be most appropriate to name the Volunteer Service Award after Phil. The Phil Welter Volunteer Service Award is given in recognition of significant and ongoing volunteer involvement in the support of the LEAF mission. This year's award for volunteer service is given to a couple that has provided ongoing service to LEAF and to an individual who not only has made great contributions to LEAF, but consistently goes above and beyond in support of the student activities program in District 742 and particularly Tech High School. We're going to again call on Pat Kruger to make these awards.
The first one is going to Paul and Marcia Shoemaker. Now, Paul has been involved with LEAF for several years, beginning as our maybe unofficial and then probably becoming our official photographer for LEAF events. And his skill with a camera has been seen in the photo gallery on the LEAF website and through social media and beyond. And he continues to help us with that. When LEAF enhanced our online presence and improved our webpage, Paul took a leading role, and his task has been to provide our webpage maintenance ever since we began online. So Paul is not only our photographer, but he's our webmaster. Both Paul and Marcia also serve as volunteers on LEAF's PR committee. And I've known Marcia since she first came to St. Cloud a few years back. And I actually met her through my role on the Board of Education. She was the St. Cloud Times editorial page editor for a number of years. And she was at the time that I was on the board. So we had a number of interesting conversations about the things that the board was doing. And right from the start, Marcia was extremely supportive of education. And shortly after that, Marcia left her position with the St. Cloud Times, and she has been writing and editing major publications, reports, little things like the president's formal addresses to the university and the community. And she shares her skills generously with LEAF, providing writing and editing. LEAF is truly grateful for the contributions of Paul and Marcia, and we are proud to award our 2021 Volunteer Service Award to them as a couple.
We are honored for this recognition, but mostly I'd like to thank you for letting us be part of the LEAF family. Thank you.
As Pat said, Paul's been volunteering with LEAF far longer than I have. And she, when I retired from St. Cloud State, she gave me some welcome encouragement to join the PR committee. And thank you, Pat, for that encouragement. So now Paul and I often work together to help communicate the LEAF story. It's been an honor to be a small part of LEAF and to work to support the amazing education community of District 742, especially this year when we saw everyone from administrators to students transform how they teach and learn to help rise above, and they rose above the pandemic and all its unpredictable effects. We are grateful to be here tonight among those who support and give of their time, knowledge, and resources to keep the heroes of District 742 doing what they do best. Thank you.
Okay, our next honoree is Marty Heine. This service award goes to Marty, a 1978 graduate of Tech High School. Sorry, we're revealing your age, Marty. And for many years, he has been the owner of All-Star Trophy and Awards. His ongoing volunteer support of LEAF and the student athletics in District 742 began very early on. Besides serving a 6-year term on the LEAF board, Marty has continued to serve on the extremely important LEAF Grants Committee. And he's continued to do that since his board term ended. And he spends, of course, a lot of time doing what LEAF really does, and that is make sometimes difficult decisions about where our grants will be going. He's been a strong advocate for student athletics and academic programs. And over the years, Marty has given much of his time and effort to school-related projects like the Tech Athletic Hall of Fame and the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. It's all in the family. Marty's dad, Paul, was a longtime teacher, counselor, and coach in District 742. And his son, Carl, is currently a teacher and coach at South Middle School. So for his ongoing willingness to give of his time and for supporting LEAF, our mission, and our work, we are honored to present our 2021 Volunteer Service Award to Marty Heine. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Pat. Congratulations, Marty. Thank you, Pat, Bruce, and hey, Wayne. And the League Board for honoring me with this great award named after Phil Welter Volunteer Service Award. I feel a little uncomfortable being on this side of the receiving end where I'm used to more making the awards and presenting them, but yeah, I am truly honored to be receiving this award. Volunteering is a very important part of my life. It's easy to volunteer when you believe in an organization like LEAF and an organization that does so much good to our community and our school district. With that said, I'd like to thank all of the people that volunteer to LEAF, our great teachers and administrators, and to the other recipients, to the other awards. Thank you very much. I'm truly honored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peggy Carlson, you're going to
I am.
take us. Got it.
The 2001, I will introduce the recipients of the 2001 Instructional Excellence Award. The LEAF Instructional Excellence Award is given in recognition of educational excellence, service, and accomplishment. In 2009, LEAF decided it was time to begin highlighting some of the excellent staff and programs that were delivering a quality 21st century education to the students of District 742. By shining a light on some of our quality staff and programs, we feel that others might be motivated to give above and beyond to provide a quality education program for our students. The Instructional Excellence Award this year is being awarded to Kristen Herbert, Alexandra Badger, and to the District 742 Nutritional Services and Cooks. And I'll start with Kristen. Kristen is originally from West St. Paul. Sorry about that, Kristen. West St. Paul, and currently lives in Foley with her husband and 2 sons. She's been teaching for 20 years, and for the last 6 years, she's been teaching Minnesota Studies in the St. Cloud School District, St. Cloud Area School District. This fall, I can't say enough about what Kristen has done. This fall, she was so concerned about her students and their waning engagement with distance learning. She devised a project that would enhance positive connections with her students and encourage their engagement in distance learning. It's hard to say. Kristen, I don't know if you know this, but since your application, we have had probably 20 other applications to the grant program that were based on yours, and teachers and administrators made it their own. I applaud Kristen for her creativity and her innovation in creating a project that has been easily adapted for different programs in the district. Her ideas and project are now being implemented by so many others. And Kristen, I can't thank you enough for what you have done this year for the district. Kristen.
Thank you. LEAF is amazing, and I've had a few other times filled out some other grants, and my coworkers have had other ones. This grant this year, I was talking to some other sixth grade teachers about connecting with the students at home. And at the end of last year, we did not have a lot of kids joining our Google Meets, like at the start of class or sometimes at all. So we needed some kind of incentives and some way to make connections with the kids. So the grant I filled out was to get funding to put together like some kits with postcards and cards and small prizes and stuff to just mail out to the kids. And I sent out an email to the whole staff seeing who wanted to do it, and anybody who wanted to could come get the kits from my classroom. And then also along with that, I did know some other people were filling out grants, because then people came to me and asked for some help on filling out the grant. So from that, even in our building, I know our SEL and deans filled out something to increase attendance to reward that weekly in a drawing, and we did a grant that way. And with the distance learning too, they did a similar grant. So it made a difference in a lot of kids. They would send me messages saying, thanks for the note, or I had a parent that posted on Facebook that her son happened to get 2 in the last couple of weeks, and how she was so amazed with the staff and how they were still connecting with the students. So thank you. Because of that grant, a lot of kids made connections with their teachers.
Thank you, Kristen. Our next recipient is Alexandra Badger, and I've gotten very well acquainted with Alex through this grant. We spent some time sitting on our front steps distance this summer talking. And Alexandra grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. For 3 years, she taught internationally. And then in 2014, she began teaching in District 742 in the English Language Learning Program. She also coaches swimming at Apollo. She used to coach both boys and girls, and now she coaches but she coaches the boys program. And I just want to point out, Alex was one of the first coaches in the state to recruit female Somali swimmers to a swim program, and just an amazing accomplishment. Last spring, Alex called me because she was very, very concerned that she felt that a lot of the kids in her program especially were just not getting enough physical activity, and some of them lived in smaller apartments and they didn't have the space. So Alex developed a Get Fit at Home project, which she designed to engage students and their families in physical activity. While also what she added to this was she also wanted to help local businesses. So she secured a grant from us and then went to local businesses, purchased gift cards as prizes for the videos. And also a lot of the businesses did donate to the program as well. So Alex did an awesome idea. So she was helping the kids and the families and helping businesses in the St. Cloud area. She recruited members of the Apollo swim team to assist her in implementing the project. I am very inspired by Alex, and I'm just pleased to call her a friend. And she spent countless hours putting together and implementing this project to get the kids and families in our district moving at a time when everyone was stuck at home. Alex, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those really kind words. I think like so much of this year, that Get Fit at Home project started because of like a panicked moment when I realized that we weren't going to be able to, in a heartbreak moment. We usually run a citywide swim camp in the spring. And because of COVID, we realized we weren't going to be able to run the swim camp safely. And so in heartbreak, I was wondering, what can we do instead? And that's where this project came from. And we realized maybe we'd be able to do, like Peggy said, be able to help some of our local businesses at the same time. And I think that's really kind of set the tone for this year, coaching and teaching. This has certainly been one of the more challenging years of my career. But I think because of this year, I'm a better educator. I'm a better coach. I've learned so much this year. I've become such a creative coach and educator this year. And I'm extremely thankful to all of the amazing people who support me every step of the way. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to Leaf. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen, Alex and Kristen. Our final award is, I think, very well deserved. The final Instructional Excellence Award is being presented to District 742's cooks and the nutritional services. While many individuals and groups have gone beyond any expectations and during this past year, and we never thought it would be a year, and it's not over yet, a lot of groups have remained unrecognized for their efforts. The nutritional services and cooks have been in the buildings preparing 2 meals with snacks for thousands of students every day since our schools closed in the spring. They've had to change the way they do everything without missing a day feeding our kids. During distance learning, they have been making and packing all the meals for the buses to deliver, the meals for families to pick up at schools, feeding the Kids Stop students who have been in the buildings, and even feeding staff. During the hybrid model, they are serving breakfast and lunch to students in their classrooms, providing meals for families to pack up, and sending meals home at the end of the school day with these students. They're even making meals for the Distance Learning Academy students and their families. They've had to do all of this. They've had to recreate what they do, and they have, and they've done it with a smile. And I just really feel so grateful that I can introduce and recognize this group of people. It's a large group. And I think, is Joe happy with us?
I believe he is.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Great.
there he is. Joe's going to speak on behalf.
Well, my name is Joe Happy. I'm the supervisor of nutritional services for St. Cloud Area School District. And on behalf of the 125 lunch ladies, food dudes, and staff, thank you very much for this recognition. This is an amazing group of ladies that work extremely hard to make sure our kids are taken care of every day. When we're in regular school and everybody's in school, they're serving breakfast to more than 6,000 students and lunch to more than 8,000 students every day. When we were struck by the pandemic, we had to change the entire way we thought. And when we went to the hybrid model, which is half in, half out, they came up with the idea of sending meals home with the students for the days where they would be doing distance learning. Then when we went to everybody is in distance learning, we ended up sending out 96 buses loaded with food every day deep into the different neighborhoods covering St. Cloud, just to make sure that these students would have food to eat and would not suffer because they're not in school. These are amazing, amazing people that work in this department. So thank you very much for recognizing them. Most people would just call them lunch ladies, but to the kids, they're superheroes. And so thank you for this recognition. And on behalf of all of 125 people in the department, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. I just want to point out the nomination for the cooks and nutritional services came from a staff member in District 742 who saw what was going on and could explain to us. Most of the people in the community don't see that, of course, and I think it's so important that we recognize the role of cooks and nutritional services as part of the educational program, which they are, and so important to the nutrition of our students. So again, thank you. And we are recording this show so we can, or this program, so we can get some of that data you just gave us and maybe get that out to the community a little bit too. That's impressive stuff. Our last award of the evening is the Leaf Lifetime Service Award, which is given in recognition of significant and ongoing service to and support of the Leaf mission. Usually you have to be getting, shall we say, older in order to get a Lifetime Service Award. However, our executive committee made an exception this year and unanimously voted to present this year's Lifetime Service Award to Elizabeth Reisinger in recognition of her tireless work in support of the Leaf mission over her 6 years on her 6-year term on the board and 4 years as president. So how does someone get a Lifetime Service Award at her age? Well, first of all, she not only was our president for 4 years, but she chaired our Learning Renaissance event for the past several years, as well as our Language Immersion Committee, and was involved in virtually every committee that Leaf has, and we have a lot of them. When Elizabeth took over as president in early 2017, Leaf had just passed the $1 million mark for our total endowment, and we were hoping we could hold on to that $1 million level. That $1 million has now been raised, or that $1 million was raised in the first 24 years that Leaf existed, from 1993 to 2017. 4 years later, our endowment has grown by $884,000, and we're just under the $2 million mark, as we've mentioned. In 2016, Leaf was able to give $137,000 in grants to District 742 academic activities, arts, and athletic programs. Over the past 4 years, while Elizabeth has been president, we have made a total of $757,206 in grants to programs. Elizabeth would, of course, give credit to the entire Leaf board for our tremendous growth over the past 4 years, and certainly the entire board deserves credit. However, her leadership has been key to that growth. I have to tell the story, Elizabeth. One of Elizabeth's first tasks as our president was to lead our 2017 fundraiser for the new Homeless Student Services Fund. As part of that effort, we decided to make a marketing video highlighting Elizabeth in opening comments and then focusing on our two matching donors, Ann and Mark Thielen, and Mike Podolwitz and Diane Murphy Podolwitz. Elizabeth was the first to be recorded. Being a perfectionist, Elizabeth insisted on re-recording her part until the 4th or 5th attempt, where she finally got so frustrated she jumped up from her chair, screamed, "I did not sign up for this," and stomped out of the room at Apollo High School. I had to run down the hall and beg her to come back and continue in her role as president and finish up the video. Now that part isn't quite true, but the rest of the story is true. The reality of it is we almost lost Elizabeth before she really got started with her term. Fortunately, she did stick around, then accepted a second term as our president and brought a creative and passionate attitude to our board of directors. She also, by the way, brought cookies to every meeting while we were still meeting in person, which is another key thing that she did. For her commitment to Leaf, her passion for public education, and the high energy and creative leadership that she has shown over her 4 years as president of Leaf, we are proud to award Elizabeth Reisinger with the Leaf Lifetime Service Award. Elizabeth, thank you very much.
Thanks. I have to tell you, when Bruce emailed me that I was getting this award, I shot back in all caps really fast. I did not sign up for this. And truly I didn't. It seems, yeah, the board should get all the credit. Leaf does so much for so many, and it takes literally hundreds of people to do it. And I got to Leaf through that same way, where I enrolled my son in the Chinese immersion program. We don't live in the district, but we toured Madison and it was amazing. They do amazing work at Madison, and we have been so proud to have now 2 kids. I have a 4th grader there now too. And we, from there on, I said, what can I do? How can we help? And that led me to Leaf, and the rest is history. And Bruce, I have to give you a little guff. This is what we do, by the way. With the accessibility of Zoom, Bruce is not a fan of Zoom. I am. We've been able to have so many people participate this year for LEAF, even though it's been such a tough year. There's been a lot of gifts of this year. My parents have logged in from Arizona. My sister has logged in from Texas. My mom is a former public school teacher. I didn't grow up here. I grew up down in Iowa. So the Zoom, they can come to the annual meeting. Look at this, Bruce is pretty cool. So anyway, I want to thank them, and my husband and kids are down the hall listening. So it's truly an honor. And I will say, I can't take credit for hardly anything. I think all of us can do lots of small things to make the world better, and that leads to lots of big things. And I truly think that's how we get through this next hurdle that we all face. So thank you so much. LEAF does so much. I'm a better person because I have volunteered with this, and I think the St. Cloud is so much better because of LEAF. So I really do thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Want to thank your parents also and your relatives who have tuned in from Iowa. I'm glad that they get internet service down in Iowa. We weren't sure that if they did or not, but no.
Well, you know, my sister is in urban Houston, and she didn't have
yeah.
water and power up until like last week. So she's on too. So thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
I would just say to your parents, you did a good job, and Elizabeth has provided great leadership for us. I will say this: in my time as executive director of LEAF, Elizabeth is the only person who has ever referred to me as, "Hey, dude, you should do this," or whatever. But we've learned to handle that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, and we're just about finished. We just want to quickly recognize our outgoing LEAF board members. Being an old coach that I am, this reminds me of the end of the season when you're saying goodbye to the seniors and going, how are we ever going to put a team together next year to continue what we're doing? As we lose, in this case now, 5 key board members as a result of timing out because they've served their 6 years. LEAF board members serve 3-year terms, and they can serve a maximum of 2 3-year terms. And so just very quickly, and I would point out before I introduce them, we don't give out plaques or anything for service on the LEAF board, but we do give out 2 wine glasses with the LEAF logo. Actually, the logo is put on by All-Star Trophy and Awards, Marty Heine, for us. And so something for you as you're sitting around on cold winter nights in the future to remember LEAF by. You will each be getting a pair of those wine glasses. Our first board member outgoing that I want to mention is Pat Crookton. Pat has been a key member of our Budget and Finance Committee. He brought his financial experience as a financial planner for Proviant to that committee and was able to give us ideas and make contributions, significant contributions to that. Also, as a employee of Proviant, or financial planner for Proviant, he's part of an organization that has been tremendously successful with LEAF over the years. Barclay Carrier, another colleague of Pat's, was on our board for many years. They have been great supporters of education and particularly of LEAF. And so we say thank you, Pat, for your term with LEAF. Next is Pat Kruger. I don't know what I can say about Pat Kruger. She is already a Lifetime Service Award winner for LEAF last year. She was with us right from the beginning in 1993 when she was still a school board member. And she served 4 6-year terms, I believe, on the LEAF board and has just contributed a great deal. She develops a lot of our graphic arts and marketing ideas as chair of our PR committee, which she has chaired just about every year, I think, that she's been on our board. And most importantly, she has agreed to continue in that capacity, even though she won't be on the board. She'll still chair our PR committee. So Pat, thank you. Jim Michaud is our next board member who will be leaving. Jim is a former coach and activities director at Apollo High School. He brought his expertise and experience to our grants committee, which I believe he served on all 6 years, and could provide some real in-depth ideas about our activities program and the needs. In addition to that, he also served on our activities participation fund committee, which started here just the last couple of years. So Jim, thank you for your years of support for LEAF. Laura Funenstein. Laura was one of the tri-chairs of our 2008 15th year anniversary fundraising committee, which helped us raise nearly $500,000 during the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009. Wayne Schlechter, who at least was with us earlier this evening, I'm not sure if he still is, and Mike Faber of Viking Coca-Cola were the other chairs. Laura was a key member of our Budget and Finance Committee and brought her financial expertise and tough questioning approach to our board of directors. She made us think about what we were doing and how we were doing it. And I have mentioned several times what a key attribute that is for the member of a nonprofit board. But we will certainly miss Laura. And Laura, thank you for your contributions to LEAF. And then finally, Elizabeth Reisinger. I guess maybe we've said a lot about Elizabeth already. While she has earned a year off from the LEAF board, we hope she won't go too far away and that she'll be open to our invitation to rejoin again in the future. We do know that she's also involved with the Stearns History Board and Great Theater. So we know she's not just going to be sitting at home over the next couple of years. But Elizabeth, thank you so much for your contributions to LEAF. Thank you. Just want to quickly read the names of our new board members. We have 5 great people coming on to our board, and they include Fardosa Ayman, who is 21st Century Coordinator, Diane Moeller, who is a retired educator, former principal in the district at Kennedy Elementary, and she's also a former assistant superintendent for District 742, so she brings a great deal of knowledge with her. Hani Omar Jacobson, who is a Centricare public health nurse, will be joining us. Andrea Prepinel, educational coordinator and former administrator in District 742 schools. And lastly, Rob Voshell. Rob is a former St. John's football star, but that's not what makes him valuable to our board. He's also the finance director for the city of Sartell, and will be joining our Budget and Finance Committee and helping provide that feedback for us to make sure we're doing things in a best practice manner. And then finally, just to mention our new officers for 2021. Normally, they would have been elected at this board meeting by board vote, but we've already taken care of that. Our new president will be Bruce Mose, who replaces Elizabeth Reisinger. Peggy Carlson will continue as our vice president. Sarah Martini, who's a media specialist at Westwood Elementary, takes over for Pat Kruger as our secretary. And Tim Beck, a senior associate with Clifton Larson Allen, continues as our treasurer. At this time, I'm going to turn things over to our incoming president for just a couple of final words. I do not have to introduce Bruce Mose, as anyone connected in any way with education of District 742 knows that Bruce has been around and on the school board for the past 16 years and has been involved in anything that's related to education or Tech High School in those years. I was a member of the Tech Alumni Association Board of Directors back when Bruce retired from teaching in Wisconsin and came back to St. Cloud in 2000. Bruce immediately joined the Tech Alumni Board in 2000, and one of his first statements to the board was, Bruce, I don't know if you remember this, but he said, do you people realize that Tech High School will be celebrating its 100th birthday in just 17 years? And we need to begin planning for that. We all kind of rolled our eyes at the time, but Bruce was right. It took a lot of planning, and Bruce led very much in that way, or in that manner, closing up Tech High School and leading to the opening of the new Tech High School. And he is totally committed to education. And so we are happy to have him leading our board for the next 2 years. Bruce, it's all yours to close her down tonight.
Thank you, Bruce. And just a reminder, I won't be replacing Elizabeth Reisinger. I'll be following Elizabeth Reisinger. I'm very privileged and honored as the incoming president of the LEAF Board of Directors to make a few remarks. First of all, as been mentioned, this annual dinner awards event is generally held at the St. Cloud Country Club, and it's always a festive and collegial event. Hopefully this time next year, we'll be back to that format. But I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you who are attending this virtual event tonight. The change in location and environment has not lessened by any measure the value, purpose, and importance of what we've highlighted this evening. Secondly, the LEAF annual meeting is a significant reminder of the breadth and depth of the timely, purposeful, generous, and important role that LEAF plays in support of the mission, vision, core values, and strategic objectives of District 742. Our partnership with the school district is both vital and continuous. And lastly, I want to remind all those who have received awards this evening to please stay online so that we can capture some photos for the LEAF webpage, the LEAF Facebook page, and future news releases. Thank you and have a pleasant remainder of the evening.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us and for your contributions to education and in support of LEAF.